Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Let's do this. Time's a-wasting. We only have until 11:40 today because that's when we turn things over to Joe Pott for our pregame activity. The Cardinals and the Blue Jays in Toronto. The Cardinals have struggled here on the field, but as we know, this is a project that is years in the making. You could really say this is year two because Chaim Bloom was behind the scenes last year, but this is his first year as president of baseball operations. It's also his first trade deadline, and that is going to take place tomorrow at 5 p.m. Up until then, anything can happen, as we saw last night with the Dodgers. There was a lot of talk from the Dodgers camp that they were telling reporters that they weren't sure if they were going to be able to make a big blockbuster deal this time around. Well, they did. And overnight, the word started coming in, I believe around 10:30 last night with Jeff Passan of ESPN, that the Dodgers were in agreement on a deal for Tarik Skubal, the two-time AL Cy Young Award winner, and getting him from the Tigers in a big deal. This makes the rotation for the Dodgers quite formidable. Although Shohei Ohtani is not pitching at the moment, Yoshinobu Yamamoto is in that rotation. Ohtani could join them, as well as Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow. I mean, that is an incredible rotation that I believe gets paid in total about $1 billion. So it's just insane. Now, Snell and Glasnow are still coming back from injury, and they're not 100%. But it is a massive deal, and this is going to be controversial. A lot of people are not going to like this, but it is the way that baseball is today. I mean, you can make deals because Detroit knows it's not going to be able to pay Tarik Skubal $50 million a year or whatever it will end up being. So he's a rental, and the Dodgers have a phenomenal farm system. They have endless funds. They have a phenomenal farm system, and they dealt two players on MLB Pipeline's top 100 list. Outfielder Zaire Hope, he's not the biggest name that came out. Everybody was talking about the two pitchers, River Ryan and Brady Smith, but Hope is the number 25 prospect in MLB Pipeline's top 100. Ryan is number 68. Smith is the number 17 prospect with the Dodgers, which means he'd probably be a top 5 prospect with any other team. I mean, their farm system is outstanding. And, you know, the Cardinals are climbing here when it comes to minor league systems, but the Dodgers are still the standard. This is the great thing about being a Dodgers fan is your team has all this money to spend, but they also have the best farm system in baseball. So it's a 1-2 punch that's hard to compete with, and the Dodgers are going for 3 straight World Series. Skubal is the first reigning Cy Young Award winner to be traded since Justin Verlander in 2023. Yesterday, I celebrated my 29th work anniversary here at KMOX, and going back to 1997 is when I started, and that was when the Cardinals traded for Mark McGwire. That was a huge, huge deal that shook the earth a bit. It was great to see a superstar like that making his way to St. Louis, and as you know, the Cardinals did eventually sign him to a deal, and he ended up breaking Roger Maris's home run record, actually twice. Hit 70 one year and 65 the next. But it also was the start of a 3-year run for the New York Yankees. The Yankees won 3 World Series in a row in 98, 99, 2000. If you can remember back that far, were people complaining about the Yankees dominating at that time? Some were, some weren't. So, I mean, baseball is going to survive. They're always going to survive. They've gone through ups and downs and steroids and gambling and all kinds of things through their century plus of existence, 150 years. And they'll get through this as well, but it is going to take a major negotiation between the owners and the players to get this right and to make sure that there is an even playing field. And that's not going to sit very well with players who want to get paid a lot of money, and the owners want to be able to somehow spread the wealth. Part of the problem is you have a lot of wealthy owners that are sitting on a lot of money that aren't spending on payroll. So there's got to be some sort of in-between here so that we can get back to, unless you like the Dodgers being a villain and everybody chasing them. The Dodgers barely won the World Series, by the way, last year. I mean, they won the World Series, but they needed some fortune to go their way to beat the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays were very, very good and could easily have taken it, as you know. I know that our listeners watched every moment of that World Series. Blue Jays could have taken that, and they let it get away. The Dodgers are a winning organization, and now they're the team that everybody's chasing. Here we go again with Skubal as part of this Dodgers team. I have mixed emotions about it. I mean, I really do. I don't like it, but what am I going to do to stop it? I mean, this is the way baseball is set up right now, and the Dodgers are taking advantage of it. I mean, if you want to be the Dodgers, then go beat them and go be better. Somehow they have been able to build this superpower, and they do it better than anybody else. The Mets tried. I mean, they tried to spend as much money as possible, and they're one of the worst teams in baseball. So it's not always about how much money that you spend. It's about how do you build your organization the right way. How do the Cardinals fit into all of this? Well, we're going to talk to Chaim Bloom about it at 11:20, and we'll talk to Bernie Miklasz here in a few minutes. But the Cardinals are a medium-sized market. They're not going to compete with free agents with these coastal teams like New York and L.A. They're going to have to grow their own, develop their own, retain their own. They're on that path with J.J. Weatherholt. They probably will be on that path soon with Jordan Walker. And I would imagine Mason Wynn could be part of that mix and others in terms of growing, retaining talent that have the opportunity to be elite at whatever they do. In Mason's case with the glove, in Jordan's case, showing what he can do with power, and in Weatherholt's case, pretty much everything he ever does once he walks out on the field. He's incredible. And there's more to come. But the Cardinals, if they're going to compete as it's set up right now, they have resources. Don't get me wrong. They can retain these players, but they can't get into a bidding war with these other teams in terms of free agents. That is not going to happen. That's been proven over the last decade plus, more than that. All right, we'll take a break. We'll go to Bernie Miklasz next. Then at 10:30, Josh Schertz. The Cardinals are in the news, of course, but Josh Schertz is building himself a little power here in St. Louis with the Billikens. 10:45, Chris Blair, general manager of Wide Technology Raceway. As I mentioned in the news, the Belclair Speedway is open, and NASCAR playoffs are coming here in a month. At 11:05, Corey Wray, sporting director, St. Louis City SC. They can't lose here lately. Maybe you could say they had an opportunity to get 3 and didn't get it last night, but they got another one, have not lost in a while, as they tied Real Salt Lake 1-1, and then Chaim Bloom, and then Cardinal baseball. It's all right here. Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
Breaking news. Missouri will vote on Amendment 4 this August. Right now, a ballot measure passes in Missouri if it gets a majority of votes statewide. Amendment 4 would permanently end that. If Amendment 4 passes, it would rewrite the Missouri Constitution. So instead of using the total statewide vote to decide if something is approved, a measure would need to win a majority of votes separately in each of Missouri's 8 congressional districts in order to pass. So one district could veto the will of most Missourians. That means with Amendment 4, just 5% of voters could overrule what the majority of Missouri citizens want. Opponents of Amendment 4 say it undermines the sacred principle of one person, one vote, and takes away the people's power, giving it to politicians and special interests instead. Protect majority rule. Vote no on Amendment 4. Paid for by Protect Majority Rule Missouri. Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at GammaTree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Steve Ellman leads St. Charles County. Ellman has fought for smart growth and moratoriums on apartments and data centers. Ellman doubled our parks, increased our conservation land, and helped create 50,000 new jobs. Ellman has built hundreds of miles of new roads. Elman prioritized law enforcement and put officers in schools, making our county safest in the region. And Steve Elman eliminated the county's real and now personal property taxes. While Steve Elman leads, Bill Eigel misleads. Eigel promised to cut your property taxes for 8 years, but never did. Instead, he didn't pay his own taxes. Eigel was rebuked by President Trump's lawyer for misleading and scamming donors to pay for his campaigns. Eigel said he's against data centers, but he never voted to regulate data center abuses, but did vote to give tax dollars to benefit the company behind the St. Charles data center.
Paid for by the committee to elect Steve Elman, Michael Summer Jr., Treasurer.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
The Redbird Recap is sponsored by Helitech Waterproofing and Foundation Repair. Heal your home with Helitech.
With Mike Claiborne, I'm John Rooney. The Cardinals yesterday went 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They are 2 for 18 with runners in scoring position in the series, losing on Friday 3-1 and losing a 5-1 game in Toronto yesterday.
Timely hitting yesterday did the Cardinals in. They had their opportunities. They out-hit Toronto. They left a ton of runners on base, and they have to find a way to do two things: get a hit when it's needed, but also get some help in your bullpen, because the 7th inning yesterday did the Cardinals in as well.
Lefty Quinn Matthews made his major league debut and allowed 2 runs. He took the loss, but that covered 5 innings plus a batter, 6 hits with 3 walks and 3 strikeouts, 97 pitches. I thought he did okay.
I thought he was fine. I thought he gave the Cardinals a chance, and I'm looking forward to his next outing. I don't know whether it'll be soon, but I think Quinn Matthews is certainly going to have a seat at the table before too long.
The Cardinals try to break out of their 3-game skid as they take on the Blue Jays today. Airtime 11:40 this morning.
Helitech Waterproofing and Foundation Repair is offering 50% off labor on qualifying projects. If you're seeing cracks, leaks, or sinking concrete around your home, don't wait. Let the Helitech experts identify the problem and provide proven solutions to protect your home and your investment. Call Helitech or visit helitechonline.com to schedule your free inspection today.
Heal your home with Helitech.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Our visits with Bernie Miklasz are sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Bernie, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing good. Gearing up for some action on the trade deadline.
Yeah, well, we got some. One of our favorite listeners, Daryl, texted me on X, DM'd me, I should say, and said, the other problem is that most of the Dodgers' long-term high contracts get deferred, and that doesn't get taxed by the luxury tax. Yes, the owners end up paying it later, but it doesn't go against the salary cap, and it should. And I agree, Daryl, I get that. But, my point, what I said all along is that this is the way baseball is set up, so I'm including that in everything. That's not a rule exclusive to the Dodgers. That's a baseball regulation that they're able to get around. So, you can hate on the Dodgers all you want. I totally understand that, Bernie, but this is the way baseball's set up, and the Dodgers are playing the game.
Well, pardon me, Tom. I totally agree. It's very easy to rage against the Dodgers, but, number one, they were able to take advantage. They've been able to take advantage of loopholes that other teams ignore, loopholes that other teams have access to. The example you cited, for example, when and also they're willing to make a move that requires a little creativity that other teams like won't do. Like, for example, when Shohei Ohtani was a free agent, he told every single team, his agents told everybody, said, listen, we are willing to defer an immense sum of money where if this will make it work for you. And the Dodgers were the only team that took them up on it. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's realistic that all the other 29 teams could have done the same thing where they defer like, $700 million. But my point is that access to Ohtani was there for everybody. The Dodgers are opportunistic and they pounce. And the Dodgers also are in great shape because they have a fantastic draft, player development, international signing operation. And despite all their spending, they also have probably as many good prospects as any team other than maybe Milwaukee. And they are able to use the prospect capital to make a trade like they did for Skubal, who, by the way, he's a free agent at the end of the year. So it's like this was a baseball trade.
Yeah.
I don't like the Dodgers situation more than anybody else, but this was a baseball trade. The Tigers got prospects. They traded them. It wasn't like, it wasn't like this was some kind of like big financial deal. This was a baseball trade.
That's right. And Skubal's going to get paid 9.5, which is pocket change for them. And most teams can afford a guy for 9.5. Tom checks in here and says he's been a fan for over 60 years and feels like he helped build the new stadium. Seems ownership, he says, is worried more about their own profit than what fans think or want, like the kid smashing balls in Memphis. He's referring to Joshua Baez. So Tom thinks that they should call up Baez, and if they don't, then they're frowning on the fans. I disagree with that. I think Baez has issues still chasing high heat. He can hit bombs. We all know that, but the consistency of the offense that is more of a Chaim Bloom decision than the Cardinals ownership decision.
What the heck does that have to do with ownership?
I don't know. He kind of went off the rails there. Let me ask you this instead, and you can comment on that if you want. But where does all of this fit with the St. Louis Cardinals, Bernie, when it comes to how baseball is set up? How do they fit at the table?
Well, I've been saying this a long time, as you know. I mean, basically, and Chaim Bloom's indicated as much by his expressing his admiration the way the Milwaukee Brewers do their business. The Cardinals are going to have a model similar to Milwaukee. It's got to be very similar. Not so much like they're going to like mimic everything they do, but it is amazing that a small market team, smallest market in Major League Baseball, can continue to be this great. And just rack up just one great season after another. And they do it with a lot of creativity, and they do it with a lot of smart trades. They do it with great drafting and development and international signings, and they find value. They find value everywhere. They're incredible at finding value. That trade they made last offseason with Boston, they didn't get, for Caleb Durbin, basically, they didn't get one starting pitcher. They got two great starting pitchers. Plus a utility infielder who has stolen like 20 bases for him. I mean, that's and none of the guys they got in return make any money. That's a great trade, great value. So the Milwaukee model works, and it does apply to a franchise like St. Louis the same way that Cleveland and Tampa Bay do. The difference is, I think, when the Cardinals have an opportunity to really go for it, they will spend more money than some of these other teams, but. I will say this, and this is not everything. Anytime I say something like this, people get really sensitive and think I'm like ripping the fans. I'm not at all. But my point is, ownership of the Cardinals has always made it clear. It's like what we do is the revenue we get from ticket sales, television, we plow that back into the roster. Well, if the attendance is going to remain down, and it's everybody can make their choice about whether they want to buy tickets. That's everyone's individual decision. I don't tell anybody how to spend their money. But the fact is, the smaller the revenue, the smaller the payroll will be. That's just the way it's going to be. But if you also if you pile up a lot of great prospect capital, which Chaim Bloom is doing, right? One of the best farm systems already in Major League Baseball. You'll have so many prospects, you can trade some of them to get what you want. And that's something that I know Bill DeWitt Jr. and Jeff Luhnow, that was one of their things back in the day. Prospects not only help you, but they also help you make trades to make your team better.
Bernie, on the eve of the trade deadline, I think we're all still impressed with what we saw from Quinn Matthews yesterday. He went 5 innings, 2 runs on 6 hits, walked 3, struck out 3. So the Cardinals' rotation seems like it has a nice piece there. Assuming that Dustin May gets traded tomorrow, they can just pop him, Hunter Dobbins right in there. What do you think happens tomorrow?
Well, listen, there are a lot of rental pitchers on the market. I think Dustin May is one of the better of them. If people do their homework and look at where his fielding independent ERA is, he's like in the top 15, top 18 of major league starters. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. So I think he's one of the better ones, and he has shown that. Even the way he pitched his final 2 starts, or maybe they're the final 2 starts as a Cardinal. So I would think he'd be of great interest. But Derek Gould had it right today when he wrote about how there's so many pitchers out there, and there's so many big names that have yet to drop, like a Freddie Peralta trade, for example. So everyone's playing the waiting game, because every time one pitcher comes off the board, another pitcher becomes more coveted. And I think Dustin May is in that second group, where the Cardinals will benefit. The more that some of these other pitchers come off the board, the more market value Dustin May will have. And I see no reason whatsoever to think he won't be traded. But we've all said this, Tom. Chaim Bloom's not going to give anybody away. I mean, he's not donating to a charity here, so it's got to be something the Cardinals like. And what Derek Gould reported was, the Cardinals have let it known, if you want Dustin May, you're going to have to give us prospect capital in return that would be equal to the draft pick, the draft pick compensation we would lose by trading him to you. So you're going to have to make it worth our while.
Yeah, and we'll talk to Chaim about it coming up at 11:20, but he's not probably going to talk about players by name, but we'll try to get a philosophy of what he's doing here. He's not going to show his cards, obviously, the day before the trade deadline, but he'll show us something. He always seems to. Jacob asked on X, could you ask Bernie what his plans are if he's decided with the news about STL Sports Central coming out? I don't know if you're in a position to answer that, Bernie, but they're great friends of ours, and we've loved having you with us and with them.
Well, I want to say this about that site, if you give me a moment.
Sure.
And I'm not exaggerating anything. I mean, I've seen the numbers, I've seen the printouts and the readouts and everything else. STL Sports Central was open for about a year and a half, 18 months, right? You know how many video views, for example, they got in 18 months? 5 million. Yeah. And this month of July was the best record we've ever had. They had about 560,000 video views. Those numbers are remarkable. For some reason, though, couldn't get maybe businesses to, enough business to be willing to advertise on it. And that always confused me, because the STL Sports Central really fits the demographic that all advertisers are looking for, males 25 to 54. So I'm a little confused that from a business standpoint, the money didn't come in for something that was incredibly successful as a product. So that's number one. Number two is, for me, listen, I work proudly for KMOX, and I'm going to continue to work proudly for KMOX and do whatever I can to help KMOX. And so no one, like, if you want to find me, the one place you're going to absolutely find me is on KMOX, and that's not going to change. I love the relationship. As far as the writing, I'm taking a little break. I mean, I'm kind of tired of writing a little bit, not tired of the act of writing, but I've been pushing it really, really hard, working a lot of long days. By the way, I don't want to meddle. I don't want anyone to play a violin. I love what I'm doing, but I'm saying, I could use a little bit of a blow for a while and just wait to see what develops. Like, I'm in no hurry to do anything. As long as I'm working for KMOX, I'm happy, and we'll see what else comes down the pipeline.
Well, will you at least send me like my own Bernie bits? Like, just email it to me. That'd be great. Like every once in a while, I'll take just a calm down list every once in a while. That'd be great.
I should do that. No, I got, listen, there's a lot of ways I could go with the writing, and we'll see. I mean, I could go like the Substack route. I could maybe go to work for another site. I don't know. There's people have been calling me already, which is, incredibly gratifying, but I'm going to weigh options and go slow. I'm not rushing into anything.
Substack's pretty cool. I follow Gordo on there. I follow Stu Durando and his Billiken stuff. Josh Schertz, by the way, is coming up here next, and I think that's neat. Well, whatever you do, I know it's great.
Yeah,
we love having you on KMOX, and I will say I admire the passion of everybody involved with STL Sports Central. I mean, I always root for anybody in our business to do well. So,
yeah, man, you want to see a startup like that, which was very ambitious, and it actually was a success in terms of the intent, which is to have a great sports hub for St. Louis sports fans, and the numbers show that we did that. But what can you do, man? The business climate is it's not the best of times. Let's put it that way.
That's right, pal. I'm sure I'm sure we'll be in touch with you tomorrow about the trade deadline, wanting to get your reaction somehow, some way on KMOX. So we'll be in touch.
Listen, Tom, love you, man. Thank you so much.
Love you, pal. Thank you. Bernie Miklasz with us on KMOX. Josh Schertz is next. Chris Blair at 10:45. Corey Wray, 11:05. Chaim Bloom, 11:20. As Cardinal baseball comes your way at 11:40 this morning, right here on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
You've got a big day, so you use Unstoppable Scent Boosters to give your laundry non-stop freshness. So no matter how long the day goes, you
can't stop this power, this walk, this pose, this strut, this look, this talk.
Your clothes will be so fresh you can confidently strut into that end of the day meeting like a
boss, 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 bosses. Let's talk business in my office.
Add new Unstoppables beads to your wash for 24-hour non-stop freshness so you can smell unstoppable.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
In a county full of slick politicians, one man never got the memo. Jake Zimmerman. He may not be cool, but as county assessor, Zimmerman delivered. Here's Jake.
I stopped casinos taking money from our schools and cracked down on wealthy developers dodging taxes.
The St. Louis American called his office a model of respectful competence, and the Post-Dispatch just endorsed Zimmerman in his campaign for county executive for his pledge to take the drama out of county government. As county executive, he'll make life more affordable and stand up to MAGA's attacks on our rights.
I'm not flashy, but I get results, and I've got your back.
Then there's Brian Williams. Williams voted with MAGA Republicans to open the door to extreme abortion bans, and now MAGA is bankrolling Williams with $150,000 in donations. Brian Williams and MAGA can't be trusted. Jake Zimmerman is on our side. Paid for by Citizens for Jake Zimmerman. Jeannie Kirkton, Treasurer.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds, and you're overweight. Winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you, with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou, because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Coming up on 10:35, my gosh, is it nice to talk to Josh Schertz, a little college basketball. Here we go. They just wrapped up their summer session with an open practice in front of the crowd at Chaffetz Arena. How are you, Coach?
Doing great, Tom. How are you?
Doing great. The Billikens have wrapped up at least this part, right? Because they have to rest up as school is right around the corner. What did you see from your team over the summer?
Yeah, no, it was a good 7 weeks. We let them go a week early. Thought we made progress. Certainly, have a long way to go. I think we have pieces. Obviously, you go through phases right now in the summer. You're just trying to establish a foundation, kind of an identity of how you want to play. There's not a lot of intricacy in terms of running sets or how you attack this or how you attack that. You're trying to get the base in, offensively, the base in defensively, and understand, basic meat and potato stuff, which is really the most relevant stuff to winning. And so, yeah, I leave the summer encouraged. Got really, I think, our 5 returners that played a lot last year, or as would be expected, our 5 best players. That's a good place to start when when your backcourt's filled with really talented guys. And I think all 5 of them have gotten better. I've seen some good things from the 4 guys, who were second-year guys who didn't play much last year. When you're looking at, Luke Lechkowski and Jax Kerr and Cam Hudson and Bedard Diakite. And then, we've got the 3 transfers and the 3 freshmen. So it's, and those guys are all coming along. Have all shown signs. There's not been a guy on the team of 15 scholarship guys that hasn't at least shown flashes of becoming a good player. We got a lot of work to do between now and November to take steps.
I would say that you have an athletic team, a physical team, and you have a lot of players who can do a lot of different things. I was just mentioning Stu when I talked to Bernie last segment. Stu wrote about your pursuit, or maybe it was Tom Zimmerman. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up, but writing about your pursuit of a big man. And, looking at your big men, they can run. Kerr can run. Pearson's an athlete. So maybe the traditional back to the basket big man is not what we're talking about. Just a body who could play a lot. That might be multiple bodies that go in there and bang and get some rebounds.
Absolutely. I think right now, there's a chance it's a committee. I also think, you give guys space to kind of come up and, grab the bull by the horns and say, hey, look, I'm the guy and I'm going to play, 30 minutes a night. And it also could be, hey, we're going to have to do it by committee. I think we have, we have really 3 guys that are I would say, could play center pretty consistently, with Elijah Strong being the 4th guy who I think could do it in a pinch. Elijah's a little smaller, at around 6'7" or so. But the 3 guys you mentioned, Jax Kerr, Sheik Pearson, Alon Mikaeli, I think each guy this summer has shown different things. Jax, unfortunately was hurt, wasn't able to play much our scrimmage on Friday, but he led the team in rebounding this summer, led the team in shot blocks this summer, both by a pretty good margin. And so there's some stuff there. He was 4th on the team and made threes behind, Ish, Trey, and Lachkowski. So some really good stuff from Jax this summer. I think Sheik Pearson's come a long way, as you said, size and mobility, shot blocking. And he's a guy that's, like Jax, they haven't played much. There's going to be a learning curve for those guys in terms of as they come along, but they're both 6'11", great mobility, 7'3", 7'4" wingspans. And I think, like I said, where they are on, August, 2nd should hopefully be a lot different than it is on November 2nd when we get started. And hopefully as they get experience, different on January 2nd and March 2nd. So, and then Alon Mikaeli is a guy that, played some at Colorado, and is a talented guy, has skill, and is a kind of, plays with a veteran presence, and, has a little bit of a different skill set than Sheik and Jax. But, all 3 of those guys, and then I would throw Elijah Strong in there. I think we have versatility in how we could play. We could play 2 of those guys together, 3 of those guys together, and then certainly we'll also spend a lot of time playing the way we played last year when we won, the regular season and that team that won 29 games, where, you have 4 perimeter players and 1, true big in there, because obviously with Amari, we have a number of guys in that same vein that are bigger wings that can all play, and we could play with 4 true guards and just 1 big, and there'll be times we play with 2 bigs, and, and as those guys develop, we'll let it kind of evolve and happen over time.
The class of 2022, those athletes have been granted an injunction by a judge for a 5th season of eligibility. What does this mean for you?
I think we have to wait and see. I don't think anybody knows exactly what it means. I think there's a lot of the one I think constant is no one really knows who's going to be eligible for next year. Next year, I mean the 26-27 season. The NCAA is trying to crack down on international pros. We've had, over the last, few years, a lot of international pros coming over, guys in their early 20s, 22, 23, 24, 25 years old, coming over and being eligible to play college basketball. We've had some guys that get drafted, domestic players that didn't play college, that can come and play from the G League and play college basketball. And so they're looking at all that and maybe trying to tighten some of that. And then this deal with the class of 22, they got an injunction this past I guess week, Friday maybe, and Thursday or Friday, and now we'll see. I think the NCAA is gonna fight that and try to say that that's not that basically the injunction is not valid because of the House settlement, which was agreed to last year, and then if this injunction does come through, part of what that stipulated was that that the NCAA couldn't enforce any kind of roster limits or salary caps or anything like that. So if that is all taken into account, then you can go over the 15-person limit. You can go over any kind of there's no limit on scholarships. If a basketball team won a scholarship 30 players or a football team won a scholarship 200, you could do that as long as you could afford it. And so I think it's a wait-and-see approach. Certainly, we're on top of it. We're monitoring it. We've had some conversations, but we would be very judicious if we did anything with who we would do it with. And I certainly wouldn't bring somebody in that wasn't here or didn't know what we were doing, wasn't a part of the program. We wouldn't be willy-nilly trying to add players. We don't know if we'll be able to or if there'll even be a possibility to add anybody.
Of course, fans are dying to know if Robbie's part of that mix. I mean, that would probably be way too soon to be talking about your big man.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many steps there. Certainly, look, if it was to ever work like that, and these guys are ruled eligible and all that type of stuff, Robbie's a very easy guy to say, hey, we do that with. It's about a guy that won't have to adapt to the system and won't have to would know everything coming in the door. But I think there's a lot of things when you're looking at a situation that you got to try to figure out and look at a lot of variables to table. And first for Robbie, first off, they got to get eligible, and it's got to be sustained in a court that these guys are going to be able to play. I think that's the number one thing. I don't think it's as done as what people think. I think between the courts and I think the Protect College Sports Act, which I think now will have some traction with the Big Ten and the SEC getting behind that on Friday as well. There's two things that might hinder that, and then I think if it does, then there's all kinds. Then you actually start to look at, okay, does this make sense with what our roster is, with what Robbie wants? And there's all these other things you got to take into account and make sure, because the thing for Rob that he's done is certainly his 2 years at St. Louis. I don't think he was on the radar at that level before that, but certainly after his sophomore year, he took a major discount to come to St. Louis and to stay at St. Louis, and I'm talking about millions of dollars. I wouldn't want him to do that again. I wouldn't want that to be the case for him. I think he needs to capitalize and certainly maximize his earning opportunities. That's here or elsewhere. And certainly he and I have spoken, and we'll continue. We're in touch anyway, regardless of these rulings. He and I talk a couple times a week. So, we'll play it by ear, see what happens. But the first step is always, is this injunction going to hold? Does that, take the House settlement from last year and throw that out the window? And now that's no longer valid. I think the next week or two we'll have a little more clarity on how we're going to proceed, because I don't think it's as done as maybe everybody thinks it is.
And then last thing, just to circle back to these scrimmages that you were holding at Chaffetz, I know you have work to do to continue to get this program to where you want, but it's a pretty good sign that you're drawing a couple thousand people in the middle of the summer to go watch guys practice. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's about as many as we were getting my first year. So we got, we're getting that for a summer, a July Friday night scrimmage. We got the same, really. I mean, maybe a little more this one, but a couple thousand, maybe plus both July 2nd, July 31st. Really, hat tip and credit to our fans. I just can't be more thankful for, their support. I think there's a tremendous energy about, Billiken basketball with our fan base and the city. I think our guys feel that, our staff feels that. It creates a tremendous sense of responsibility from our standpoint to continue to give the fans a program that they're proud of in terms of, how we compete, but certainly how we carry ourselves, how we represent the city of St. Louis, having the traits that I think that they can connect with and admire, that they see in themselves in this city, that we, our team, brings those same traits to the table. And so there's a lot of cool things about being the coach here and playing here. But I think that aspect, the fans, their support, the way they really kind of wrap their arms around this program is special. And it's something I've talked about with our team was, last year's team, I thought, did an unbelievable job of, capturing this city. And I told them it wasn't just, what they did, which was pretty amazing, but it was how they did it. It was how the joy they played with, the unselfishness, the way they carried themselves, the way they interacted with the fans, with the kids. It's the total deal. It's not just the winning. It was how they did it. And this group, that set a great standard and blueprint for what we want to do. And certainly I think we have the pieces, and from a basketball standpoint and certainly from a character standpoint to very much carry on in that tradition and follow that blueprint that last year's team set.
Folks, season tickets are on sale now, so get them locked in while you can, because you can hear people are starting to take notice more than ever about this team. So get those tickets you've been wanting to get before somebody takes them from you. Josh Schertz, we love being your radio home and your partner, and thank you for being with us on KMOX.
Appreciate you guys always. Tom, look forward to seeing you soon, my friend. Have a great one. We'll connect here shortly.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. Josh Schertz, head coach of the Billikens, with us on KMOX. Chris Blair, Wide Technology Raceway. He's currently live at Belle Claire Speedway. Back in a moment.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
That means it's time for our Parlay of the Day, sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports. I'm looking at the World Series chances now that the Dodgers have acquired Tarek Skubal. Aren't you curious about that? I am. And let me see if I can find what those are. I maintain that the Brewers are still the best value in terms of winning the World Series. I would go with them first. The Dodgers are at plus 140. That doesn't seem like very good value to me. Does it to you? I don't think so. That would, just so you know, that means you bet $100, you win 140. Yankees plus 625. I think Brewers plus 800 is still a really nice play. Even though the Phillies have had some turmoil, maybe them at plus 1,700. Anyway, Parlay of the Day, sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. No, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever. Now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the MBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth, sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration.
When legacy automation starts impacting visibility and downtime, it may be time to consider modernization. Graybar's automation specialists work alongside your team to help you identify risks and map out realistic upgrade paths without unnecessary disruptions. Get started with a free health check of your operations and see what's possible. Yep, Graybar does that.
If you've been hurt because of someone else's negligence, don't try to figure it out alone. Call the team at Cantor Injury Law. They've helped thousands of people across Missouri get the justice they deserve. 314-628-9999 or CantorInjuryLaw.com. Injured, you can count on Cantor.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertisements.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. The wait is over. The displays are now open at the Reserve in West County, a prime location at Manchester and Highway 109. The Reserve is an outstanding community with serpentine streets, extensive trails, and our own neighborhood park with a pavilion, gazebos, playgrounds, and more. Come tour our popular Hamilton Ranch or our luxurious Turnberry story and a half. Visit McKelveyHomes.com. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Let's go live to the pit area at the new Belle Claire Speedway. Joining us is Chris Blair, the general manager of Wide Technology Raceway. Congratulations on this. I know this is a big day for you. Thanks for taking a few minutes.
Oh, Tom, it's a fantastic day, and thanks for having us on. We're really excited about this.
Absolutely. Tell us how this came about.
It came about through the vision of St. Clair County the board and Chairman Mark Kern. They wanted to bring back a short track and have dirt track racing again back in this area, and they contacted us. They know I'm a big dirt racing fan, and Curtis is a good friends with those folks, and we kind of helped them along the way from the design and the build, and now we're involved with the operations. And we were supposed to have opened up last night. Weather didn't really cooperate with us like we had hoped, so now we're having a Sunday evening show, and we're officially sold out. The 4,000-seat grandstand's officially sold out, and everybody's rolling in now. I've got Kenny Wallace here in the pit area. I just got done parking him, so it's going to be a fun night with midgets and modifieds and micro sprint racing. It's going to be a good evening here.
Gates open at 4, I understand, right? And when does the racing start?
We're going to start practice at 5 o'clock, qualifying at 5:30, and then the big show at 6 o'clock. And for those people who missed out on getting a ticket, it will be broadcast on the Flow Network if you have the Flow streaming. So it's going to be a really fantastic show. We're really excited about it. And there's lots of big things to come. We're going to be announcing more dates for this program, and going to have some races in conjunction with our NASCAR weekend as well. And so it's going to be a very special part of what we do at Wide Technology Raceway, working with the community and the short track community here in this St. Louis region.
Wow, it's really exciting. I mean, there's a fairgrounds and expo center right next door, but it could revitalize that entire area. I was just going to ask you what your future schedule looked like. That's exciting for people in that area, but really race fans all over the region, Chris.
Yeah, it's amazing when the word got out about this and the photos were out there and people were seeing some of the clips we were sharing on social. I started getting phone calls from everybody. So we're in talks with the Lucas Late Model Series, the World of Outlaws. There's motorcycle groups that want to come here. So it's going to be a full schedule in 2027. And if you love dirt track racing or short track racing, we're going to have something for everyone. And it's funny, the word is spreading so much that I'm getting some of the NASCAR guys like Christopher Bell and some of those guys, they're calling me up asking me all kinds of questions because they want to come play on the new track.
I bet.
It's really fun for us.
I bet. Belleville is where this is located, the Belle Claire Speedway, and Chris Blair is there. And then, of course, Madison, Illinois, not far away, is the site of the Enjoy Illinois 300. That's going to be September 13th. How are tickets going for that NASCAR playoff race?
We've had just a fantastic week, several fantastic weeks of ticket sales. And as it's getting closer, people are starting to recognize that it's getting close to race time. And I think they've decided they better make some plans with those campers and bring them out to the campground. We've been announcing our musical lineups for the Confluence Music Festival, and Old Dominion will be part of the festivities again. We've got some other music acts that are going to be announced. We've got 2 more acts. I think they're going to be announced over the course of the next 7 days. And they're big, and it's going to be an exciting show. And the racing action should be just simply fantastic. We've got a lot of fun things planned there with the Enjoy Illinois 300 on Sunday. But don't forget, we've also have the new A225 NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series event on Saturday. So it's a fun, full weekend, especially now with us having the Friday night race at Belle Claire. So it'll be 3 full days of racing here in Southwest Illinois.
There'll be a lot of people in town because the Cardinals will be having their Hall of Fame ceremony on Saturday for Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina. So we invite all baseball and race fans to get together and have a great old time in downtown St. Louis and beyond. The Enjoy Illinois 300, September 13th at Wide Technology Raceway. When I first partnered with you and Curtis, Chris, I knew you were going to try to grow the Metro East, and congrats on this Belle Claire Speedway. This is fantastic.
Well, for me, this is, I promoted my first dirt track race in 1990, and that kind of tells you how old I am. And for me, it's fun to get back to it. And, I'm sitting here looking at this racetrack and the excitement from this community because they love the road track. And now to see arguably one of the top tracks ever built, this is probably one of the top 5 racetracks ever built in the short track space. It's the racetrack I always dreamed of, and I'm really looking forward to having some fun with this and putting on some shows that everyone will truly love.
Well done. Have fun today.
All right. Thank you so much.
Chris Blair with us, back with more sports on a Sunday morning, right after this on KMOX.
For men over 50, staying healthy shouldn't feel complicated. Neovitin Men's 50 Plus is a doctor-formulated daily multivitamin designed to support everyday wellness with just 2 tablets a day. You can subscribe at neovitin.com for convenient monthly delivery right to your door, or find Neovitin Men's 50 Plus at your local Deerbirds or Schnucks. All Neovitin vitamins are manufactured in a GMP-certified facility in the USA and are designed for real, everyday routines. Make nutrition easy with Neovitin Men's 50 Plus.
Steve Ellman leads St. Charles County. Ellman has fought for smart growth and moratoriums on apartments and data centers. Ellman doubled our parks, increased our conservation land, and helped create 50,000 new jobs. Ellman has built hundreds of miles of new roads. Ellman prioritized law enforcement and put officers in schools, making our county safest in the region. And Steve Ellman eliminated the county's real and now personal property taxes. While Steve Ellman leads, Bill Eigel misleads. Eigel promised to cut your property taxes for 8 years, but never did. Instead, he didn't pay his own taxes. Eigel was rebuked by President Trump's lawyer for misleading and scamming donors to pay for his campaigns. Eigel said he's against data centers, but he never voted to regulate data center abuses, but did vote to give tax dollars to benefit the company behind the St. Charles Data Center.
Paid for by the committee to elect Steve Ellman, Michael Summer Jr., Treasurer.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Oh, hey, Sarah. Did you hear my daughter Katie got Camper of the Week?
That's a big deal.
We got a big deal too, right, Mom?
Honey, shh.
What's that?
Okay, that Hyundai Santa Fe, I only paid.
Nice.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or 1.9% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Tucson, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends August 3rd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Canada's second largest airline, WestJet, canceled almost 500 flights today because flight attendants went on strike as part of a dispute over pay. Travelers say,
I get what they need to strike. They have to strike for their reasons or whatever, right? But people also need to get places. I mean, vacation's one thing, but some people travel for other reasons too, right?
home buyers may be forced to keep waiting for lower mortgage rates. ABC's Andrew Dimbert says that's because those rates are going in the other direction.
The average rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage climbed this week to 6.66%. That's the highest level in a year and the fourth straight weekly increase. This high could keep many would-be buyers on the sidelines. And as for existing home sales, well, they've already become sluggish this year after the most buyer-friendly spring in years. Summer activity has now cooled, with pending home sales falling 5.4% in June.
I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
It's 11:02. We have a partly cloudy sky, and we're coming up on 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman. These are the stories making news. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe headed to Panama.
The governor is leading a state delegation to celebrate 30 years of partnership between the Missouri National Guard and the Central American nation. Kehoe will also meet with diplomats and business leaders to promote Missouri as a destination for global investment. The four-day trade mission begins August 5th. Lieutenant Governor Dave Wassinger will serve as acting governor while Kehoe is out of the country. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
A 25-year-old Parkville, Missouri man drowned in Table Rock Lake yesterday afternoon, and a 72-year-old Fulton, Missouri man died in the Gasconade River on Friday.
The 25-year-old is the ninth drowning for the Troop D area this year. The older man was trying to retrieve a vessel from a boat, went below the surface of the water, and did not resurface. His body was found Friday night before 11 o'clock. This was Troop F's fourth drowning for July and the 10th this year. Troop C, which is the area that covers St. Louis, has had 4 drownings. These latest drownings now bring the total this year to 28 in the state of Missouri. That's up 80% from last year's water fatalities. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A 79-year-old Melville man has died after being struck by a trailer attached to a Ford F-150 pickup truck that was hauling firewood for disposal. St. Louis police report it happened Friday afternoon before 1 on South 1st Street in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood. After reviewing video footage, accident reconstruction crews determined John Garavaglia was struck by his 41-year-old son as he moved the truck forward. Garavaglia was crossing between the truck and the trailer. A sinkhole in North St. Louis is giving neighbors a glimpse into the city's past. Fox 2 reports a street collapse at Branch and Knapp exposed a hidden creek converted into a sewer in the 1800s. The Metropolitan Sewer District says the 16-foot deep waterway was paved over more than a century ago to prevent cholera outbreaks. Crews have been working around the clock and around the rain yesterday to expect to repair the caved-in road over the next few weeks. Taking a look at sports, we talked about it a little bit, about what is happening with the injunction to allow 2022 athletes to have an extra year of eligibility. The Big Ten and the SEC are officially endorsing a bipartisan cap on college sports revenue.
Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt announces he secured the support of the power conferences to bring expected stability to uncontrolled player transfers.
I was an athlete at one point, college athlete at one point. I'm a fan now. I think the college sports is uniquely American. We've got this runaway system right now where unlimited transfers, there's no certainty. Eligibility is always in flux. We want to provide stability there and also allow them to maximize revenue.
Schmidt says capping massive football rosters prevents universities from draining their budgets so they can still fund non-revenue women's and Olympic sports. The bill heads to the full Senate for a vote. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Checking our weather, we do have a Noah Khan concert at Busch Stadium tonight. A lot of people coming into town for that. Let's get the very latest on what we have to look forward to today.
Clouds have been hanging tough, but we're going to see partly to mostly sunny skies this afternoon. The high 81, mainly clear tonight, low 66. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow with a nice afternoon. The high 85, mainly sunny Tuesday, high 87. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Carrie Schwindenhammer on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Right now we have sun peeking through the clouds in downtown St. Louis. It's 74 in Florissant, 74 in St. Peters, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. Wind gusts reaching 20 miles per hour this afternoon. We have wind right now out of the north at 12 miles per hour and 77% humidity. It's 11:06. I'm Tom Ackerman, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Time is tight today, so we're moving everything up about 10 minutes as we have an 11:40 pregame, which means we have to wrap up the show at 11:35 this morning for Cardinal baseball. The Cardinals are in Toronto, taking on the Blue Jays. One more game, then they go to Yankee Stadium tomorrow, and tomorrow is the Major League Baseball trade deadline. So we will hear from Chaim Bloom in about 13 minutes. 11:20 is our start time with Chaim, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. The Cardinals lost yesterday to the Blue Jays 5-1. Quinn Matthews in his debut was good. He went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits. That'll do. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts for Matthews, who took the loss, got no run support. The Cardinals have really struggled to hit with runners in scoring position. They had 11 hits, but they only scored 1 run, and therefore 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position will not cut it. We are going to be joined by Wray, the city sporting director, will be joining us here shortly. Is he with us now? Oh, he is? Okay, good. And the city yesterday in a 1-1 draw with Real Salt Lake kept their unbeaten streak going. Corey joins us now. How are you, sir? It's great to have you back on Sports on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, it was difficult one last night, but I thought overall the guys performed pretty well. So we're on a good run. We're happy with kind of how things are going, but with that comes new expectations. So we're dealing with that and trying to make some moves this window.
Marcel Hartl with his 6th goal of the season. He comes out of there and gets it done for you in the 72nd minute to equalize that one. That was a 9th goal across all competitions for Hartl. Having a nice year.
Very good. Very good. Happy with him and happy he was able to contribute. I think overall the team is finding a way to find goals through everybody. So really, really excited about that. I know at the start of the year it was a little bit frustrating, but people are chipping in and finding ways to contribute, and he's been a big part of that.
You've got some momentum going. First appearance for Alex Matan. How did he look? He came coming on as a substitute in the second half.
Great. I kind of go by the crowd, and they right away started giving him some good cheers. He's an exciting player. Obviously, he's noticeable because of his size, but he's a tremendous technical player. He's very offensive when he gets the ball, and you could see the intent every time he got it was to attack, and I think that's something that fans will really enjoy.
And I know people are going to enjoy Carlo Holsa. I can hear it from people who have been watching him. Tell us about the midfielder from Denmark who you look forward to seeing, I'm certain.
Yeah, we are very excited. As I mentioned, we're looking for goals and attacking play all around, and adding someone like him and Matan really help us. I think when we start to come up against teams that are frustrating to play against, we saw last week when Colorado went up how difficult it is to break down teams like that. We saw Salt Lake come in last night and really take a more structured mid to low block approach, and you need quality in those moments, and Carlo gives us a lot on the ball, and is really interesting off the ball with his runs and the positions he takes up. So we're very much looking forward to that as soon as he can be ready.
That is a transfer fee, I believe, was $6 million, right? Yeah, $6 million was the initial report on that. What does that say about where this team is right now? That's a sizable amount. That was the most ever for City.
Yeah. I think, look, when it comes to ownership and their commitment and wanting to put a winning product, I think, while money doesn't always solve everything, I think money can help you secure quality when needed. And so we went out to the market, with that support from ownership and leadership. And that is a real good indicator of kind of where we want this club to be. We want to be in those conversations. Just because you have the money doesn't always mean you get the players, but when you have the money, great ownership, great facilities, an amazing coach, good staff and culture, then you start to really close these deals. So this is hopefully, the first of what we can do, many in the future, but I think this is a really good indication of what we're trying to do, and I'm super excited about this project for the fans and obviously for the players we're going to be able to attract.
What is next on your wish list in terms of the type of player that you would like to attract to City?
Yeah. Look, I'm the type of person, and maybe Johan will disagree, but I don't mind if we're 5'2" or 6'3". I love goals, and so we definitely want to continue to find opportunities to add to the attack when possible. And so there's a number of different ways in which we can do that right now, given the mechanisms available. But I'm going to try to go out and get as much quality in the final third again. And if it's possible, we'll do it ASAP. But we're not going to shoehorn anyone in just to try to achieve some short-term goals. It's very important that the bigger picture is there. And we're 8-9 months in of a long-term kind of project, and so you have to balance that out for sure. But I'm looking to add more goals. We're looking to add more attack, creativity in the final third, different profiles like that, and then we'll see where we're at.
Corey, this all happened before you got here, but there certainly was a lot of turnover at coach. And I don't want to jump the gun here, but it has been 9 months. It seems like there is something in place here that is very satisfying. While there's a lot to accomplish, you have a philosophy in place that seems to be well accepted across the board here in this organization.
Yeah, big time. And credit to the staff, Johan and the coaches we brought in and the group that has been added from within. They've done an amazing job. They work tirelessly. They put a lot of work together, video, film sessions, touch points with the players, IDPs. And so for something to look like this so early in the project, it's full credit to them. I don't think, just an average fan understands how hard that is to change things over. I certainly know it's appreciated. I hear a lot from the fans just about the style of play and, being more dominant on the ball and solving solutions that way. But it's full credit to them, man. They've done such a great job. I know they haven't slept a whole lot since they've arrived, but you can see already the ideas and the fluidity and the tactical kind of changes they can make in the game to affect the outcomes. And, that is the sign of a really, really strong coach and coaching staff for sure.
Sure. And it comes from practice for sure. I mean, I think it feels like this is a hardworking team that plays like it practices. You don't come from behind in games unless you do that. And that actually feels a little different to me. I don't see this team being let down when it comes from behind, which actually hasn't happened very often, but it happened last night and you were able to come back.
Yeah, look, we probably could have said we could have won. We had, a small period of time where it was a little bit rough, but that can happen. It's very difficult to play a perfect game, and that's something we're going to strive for, every week in training. But they're human beings too, and things can happen, and it's a game of fine margins at times. And we can't forget this is a really, really good team we played against in Salt Lake, who have championship ambitions. So, with that said, we're disappointed we didn't win the game. We're disappointed we couldn't have, gotten the 3 points. But that tells you, again, after the short period of time we've been here, how far we've come. And I think that's really, really important for the bigger picture. We are determined and motivated by, achieving great things as quickly as we. It's been really fun to see.
I haven't spoken to you since the World Cup. I've talked to Diego a lot on this station about it, but what was your takeaway from the World Cup in North America?
That was great. It was great. I hear a lot, speaking to players and agents and stakeholders overseas. And I think the U.S., Canada, and Mexico put on an amazing show. The stars showed up, really cool moments. The stadiums were on display. So overall, it was I think, unless you're a fan of the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, who didn't, advance as far as maybe they wanted, I think overall it was a really, really good showcase for what we have here in North America. And I think that's only going to help us in our future recruitment for sure.
Sure. And then with the Olympics obviously looming in 28, that's a plus on St. Louis's side, isn't it?
Big time, big time. The more people you can get in, and the more fans and players and like any coaches, it's a real eye opener. And I know any of these opportunities are not, they're not something that happens all the time. But when they do, I do know it really trickles into our kind of soccer sphere, and it does allow us to have better conversations. And having the Olympics and that type of event, having the World Cup, as well around us. I can't say enough about what it does for my job, so I'm very thankful to the people who put those events on, for sure.
It all adds up. It all matters, for sure. Wray, Sporting Director, St. Louis City SC, thank you for the time. We appreciate you, and we love being your radio partner at Y98 and here at KMOX.
Thanks, guys. Always appreciate it. Thanks for checking in on me.
You bet. Always a good visit with Corey. We'll take a break. Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations, is next. Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports, and she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
This report is sponsored by IBM. A new study from the IBM Institute for Business Value reveals a growing disconnect between executive perceptions of AI progress and employee experience. Executives report AI-driven role change at twice the rate employees experience it. 81% say AI skills are rewarded, yet 43% of employees lack employer AI training, and 50% say AI obscures contributions. Aparna Nair, IBM's Chief Talent, Leadership, and Culture Officer.
The organizations that will lead in this era won't just be the ones with the best AI. They'll be the ones that invest equally in their workforce, making it clear when to trust or challenge the system, strengthening how managers coach decisions, and rewarding employees for using AI responsibly, not just using it quickly.
The study finds that organizations most likely to stand out redesign workflows, enable managers to coach effectively, clarify decision-making, and align incentives alongside AI adoption. These organizations could see up to 73% higher revenue growth and an 11% operating margin advantage over their peers. To learn more, visit ibm.com/IBV.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves,
or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
In a county full of slick politicians, one man never got the memo. Jake Zimmerman. He may not be cool, but as county assessor, Zimmerman delivered. Here's Jake.
I stopped casinos taking money from our schools and cracked down on wealthy developers dodging taxes.
The St. Louis American called his office a model of respectful competence, and the Post-Dispatch just endorsed Zimmerman in his campaign for county executive for his pledge to take the drama out of county government. As county executive, he'll make life more affordable and stand up to MAGA's attacks on our rights.
I'm not flashy, but I get results, and I've got your back.
Then there's Brian Williams. Williams voted with MAGA Republicans to open the door to extreme abortion bans, and now MAGA is bankrolling Williams with $150,000 in donations. Brian Williams and MAGA can't be trusted. Jake Zimmerman is on our side. Paid for by Citizens for Jake Zimmerman. Jeannie Kirkton, Treasurer.
Steve Ellman leads St. Charles County. Ellman has fought for smart growth and moratoriums on apartments and data centers. Ellman doubled our parks, increased our conservation land, and helped create 50,000 new jobs. Ellman has built hundreds of miles of new roads. Ellman prioritized law enforcement and put officers in schools, making our county safest in the region. And Steve Ellman eliminated the county's real and now personal property taxes. While Steve Ellman leads, Bill Eigel misleads. Eigel promised to cut your property taxes for 8 years, but never did. Instead, he didn't pay his own taxes. Eigel was rebuked by President Trump's lawyer for misleading and scamming donors to pay for his campaigns. Eigel said he's against data centers, but he never voted to regulate data center abuses, but did vote to give tax dollars to benefit the company behind the St. Charles Data Center.
Paid for by the committee to elect Steve Ellman, Michael Summer Jr., Treasurer.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
It's 11:22. It's always a pleasure to speak on a weekly basis with Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom. Hello, Chaim.
Good morning.
Morning. If we had missed this segment for some reason, you know that sends alarm bells throughout Cardinal Nation. They'd be like, oh, boy, something's cooking. Chaim's unavailable.
Yeah. I did miss y'all's first call, but was able to organically wrap the phone call I was on enough to make the second. So we're all right here.
So we are at that time, and we're a day from the deadline, a little over 24 hours, but the phones are busy, aren't they?
Yeah, things, this would happen, this is around the time before the trade deadline when things really pick up. For better or worse, as an industry, everybody seems to push most of the business into the last couple days, and that's where we're at. So that is definitely something that you could feel it. You could start to feel it a little bit later last night, and now you could feel it this morning. That we're going to be working the phones pretty good between now and tomorrow evening.
Does the Skubal deal to the Dodgers get that moving even faster? Does it help set a pitcher's market? What does that do?
Yeah, I would say it will, just because, again, some of it's a timing thing where it is the last couple days, and this is around when things would pick up anyway. But obviously, you're talking about someone who is a very unique player to have on the trade market, even as someone who's a quote-unquote rental, just because he's so decorated. And so when someone like that comes off the board, obviously that's going to really start things moving. I don't know that I would say it sets the market in the sense that, every team has different preferences. Every deal is kind of individual, but it's more that if you're a team out there at this point and you're willing to really expend some future value to bolster yourself in the here and now with something short term, he I imagine would have been one of the best players on most teams' boards. And the fact that he goes somewhere, obviously he's just going to start greasing the wheels on everything else.
This interview is not meant to show your cards or, create leverage issues for you. But I do want to ask, is there something that you think the organization needs now? I mean, are you going into this with needs, or are you open to whatever comes your way?
I don't know that that's an either or. I think it's a good question. Look, we're always, if you have too narrow a view on what you might want to take out of a particular trade deadline, you might miss some opportunities. There's a lot of different ways to build an organization, to build a team, to build a core. And, there are situations where something could come available where you might feel like, hey, this isn't a need. We're doubling down on a strength, but it's a really good player and this guy fits us and we want to bring him in-house. You can never have too much depth in any area. That said, I think you can look around the field, both at the big league level and even in the upper minors, and identify, look, these are places where we feel set, where we feel spoken for. These are places where it'd be really good to bring in someone who could complement this group and, be a real factor here going forward. And I would highlight those as needs. But again, I think you got to stay open-minded to wherever there are good players out there. Those types of guys don't often come available. If they're there, you want to see if you can snag them.
Do you feel confident that Quinn Matthews can be part of your rotation moving forward based on what we saw yesterday?
We really like Quinn, and that was exciting yesterday to see him come up and do that and hold his own and look like he belonged here in the big leagues. Obviously, the game didn't turn out our way, and there were a couple things I'm sure he, of all people, and I know he can be really tough on himself and hold himself to a really high standard. He'd tell you that he would have wanted to do some things differently, and some of those will come with time just in terms of finishing hitters. But just to see him attack, to see him get to 2 strikes so many times, he has the stuff to be able to finish those at-bats. And for him over the last 2 years, this guy burst on the scene in 2024 and hits a wall in AAA. It took him longer than most to get through that wall and really slow the game down at that level. But in doing so, I think he became a much more complete pitcher, and he was able to show that off yesterday. We'll obviously see how it plays out from here with respect to opportunities in 2026. I'm sure there's going to be more of them for him. But more important, I think going forward, he looks like a guy who could fit as we try to rack up arms that are of the caliber to get us back to the top of this division.
A few minutes left with Chaim Bloom here. We're on a tight schedule because of an early Cardinals game. What is the readiness of Joshua Baez at this point? How is he moving along?
Yeah, he, there have been points this summer where he was just absolutely on fire. You and I talked about it on certain weeks when he looked unstoppable. And then, since then there have been some ups and downs where he has gone through some slumps. Again, that's part of the nature of it, and that's part of the value of really going through a season or a good chunk of a season at each level just to see how you adapt and adjust. The thing that stands out to me with him is even through this, you do not see the work ever waver. You don't see the maturity ever waver. Like, this is a special person who's come a long way as a baseball player, and he has been knocking on the door for a little while. We view him as continuing to do that. I certainly think he's benefiting from navigating through some of those ups and downs. And even at that level, it's not like the big leagues, but they do adjust to you. They do figure out what weaknesses to pick apart over the course of the season. So it's done him, I think, well to go through that and to show how he adjusts to that. But he's certainly on the map to be able to contribute in the big leagues at some point fairly soon. And, we'll see obviously how things play out, but would definitely see that in his future and potentially fairly soon.
Obviously, you all have done your homework on what tomorrow could be, but do you still maintain that anything can happen before the deadline? I mean, you told me a couple weeks ago, you said, look, sometimes you get a phone call right before the deadline is something that came together that you never thought could happen.
Yeah, and since we talked about that, obviously some things have moved in certain directions. Obviously, the market is certainly starting to clarify itself. Obviously, the way we've played hasn't been up to the standard that we like to have here, but that's certainly something that you'd be silly not to factor into some degree, just in terms of what it shows about where we are and the gap between that and where we need to be. But yeah, I still, like we talked about it, sometimes those surprises that might come on deadline day, you don't know about them the day before. I think we have a pretty good idea of some of the things that are likelier, but you don't necessarily know how it's all going to play out even now, 30 or so hours out. I think the big thing for us is basically staying on track with everything that we've talked about, everything that you and I have talked about since the fall, where our goal here is to build something great and to build something that lasts. that can mean a lot of different things, but any move that we would contemplate between now and the buzzer tomorrow, we want it to fit within that. That is this pushing us forward towards getting back to where we want to be and being able to stay there. And that's really the yardstick against which we have to measure any possibility that might come our way.
We'll stay in touch with you and the organization, and we look forward to it. Thank you for the visit on what is obviously a very busy day. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations, with us on KMOX. We will take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this show and then turn things over to Joe Pott. He has pregame Cardinals and Blue Jays coming up in a matter of moments on KMOX.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
This report is sponsored by IBM. A new study from the IBM Institute for Business Value reveals a growing disconnect between executive perceptions of AI progress and employee experience. Executives report AI-driven role change at twice the rate employees experience it. 81% say AI skills are rewarded, yet 43% of employees lack employer AI training, and 50% say AI obscures contributions. Aparna Nair, IBM's Chief Talent, Leadership, and Culture Officer.
The organizations that will lead in this era won't just be the ones with the best AI. They'll be the ones that invest equally in their workforce, making it clear when to trust or challenge the system, strengthening how managers coach decisions, and rewarding employees for using AI responsibly, not just using it quickly.
The study finds that organizations most likely to stand out redesign workflows, enable managers to coach effectively, clarify decision-making, and align incentives alongside AI adoption. These organizations could see up to 73% higher revenue growth and an 11% operating margin advantage over their peers. To learn more, visit ibm.com/IBV.
Well, I mentioned them a little while ago when I did my parlay of the day, but let me tell you a little bit more about Circa Sports and why I like them so much. Circa Sports is an easy app to use. That's first and foremost. That's the first thing I've noticed because, I've seen some others. I've played around with some others, but there's something special about Circa Sports, how easy they make it for you. From baseball to basketball to hockey to football about to start, Circa Sports has it all. Circa Sports isn't just sports betting. It's sports betting the way it should be. It's sports action the way it should be. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service. I can't emphasize that enough. They will help you through any questions that you have about it as well. Circa Sports. You looking for futures, props? They have it all. Circa Sports. Download the Circa Sports app or visit circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Every step matters. That's why Steve All and the entire team at the All Financial Group have signed up to walk and fundraise for the St. Jude Walk on September 12th. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is leading the way the world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer. And here's what makes them truly remarkable. Families never receive a bill from St. Jude, so parents can focus on one thing, and one thing only, their child. We want you to be a part of this. You can join our team and walk with us on September 12th or simply make a donation. And here's the good news. Steve will personally match every dollar you give up to $1,000. To donate or to register to walk with the All Financial Group, visit steveall.com. That's steveaul.com. Or call 636-230-8824 for more information. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, a registered investment advisor. All Financial Group LLC is not affiliated with St. Jude's Research Hospital and does not accept or collect donations on their behalf.
Are you an adult with uncontrolled moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms and still packing a backup bag of clothes? Just in case? Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza can help you take control of your Crohn's. Feel significant symptom relief, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Plus, Skyrizi is proven to help people achieve remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Individual results may vary. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's. Ready to take control of your Crohn's? Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
All right, in our final minute, what did we learn today from our guests? From Bernie Miklasz, we learned, and he and I agreed on this, not the Dodgers' fault. It's baseball. It's the way that it's set up. They're taking advantage. They are playing the game. Also, Bernie told us with this STL Sports Central change, he's leaving his options open as to what to do next, but he's, of course, staying with KMOX. We learned from Josh Schertz that Robbie Avila is somebody that he talks to twice a week. He did indicate in there that he gave Billikens a discount first time around. He wouldn't want to deny him if that became a possibility for him the second time around. We learned from Chris Blair that Belle Claire Speedway is up and running. We learned that from Corey Wray, he's pursuing an attacker. And we learned from Chaim Bloom that everything's still going according to plan, but you just never know at the deadline. Thanks for joining us. Cardinals next.
And now, the Ramsey Insurance Keys to the Game. Chris Ranji, KMOX Sports. Cardinals will need some depth, and they're going to need some effectiveness out of their starter, Matthew